What is up, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of Theory Chat, specifically based on Resident Evil 2 Remake and all the speculation videos that we have come out with over the last few weeks. If you'll note, we don't know anything new about this game. We haven't been shown anything about this game. Everything here is just, if we were the developers of the game, what would we do? What would you guys do if you were developing Resident Evil 2 Remake? What would you add? What would you change? Things like that. We've got the Twitter poll going right now. So go to @Where'sBarryB on Twitter to answer those poll questions, and we will go over them. We've got them up right now. Question number 1 was, who would you like to see have their own scenario in Resident Evil 2 Remake? And it is an overwhelming voting for Hunk right now. But you guys can update this as we go along, and we'll check it out at the end of the show. Question 2 is, what do you want the camera to be? Fixed camera is 50%, so that's crushing it. And if both characters had the story, who are you playing as? Most people said they are going to play as Leon. So that is up right now. You can answer that. If you guys want me to keep doing Theory Chat shows, I will do them when we have chunks of video to talk about. So right now, everybody in the chat, give me your excitement level for Resident Evil 2 Remake in emojis. You can do whatever you want. You can put 1,000. No, don't put 1,000, please. You can put 5 to 10 emojis in there. How are you feeling about the remake? Are you sad? What are your emotions? Show them in the chat. I'll check that out. What's up to everybody who's checked in so far? Kid Foxy, Goldheart, the moderator, Fod, Michael, the Watermelon, XBR Cat, Jurassic Park, Demon, Super Gaming, everybody who's jumping in right now, Rocky, Astral. I've got a lot of weird faces here. We've got some drools. We've got some crying. King Tim Games has a nerd face. Like a Glove has fallen asleep. Rocky Foreman's got that face. DeBron's happy. Fod is blushing. And Drift Diamond is super psyched, bros. So, yeah, if you guys have checked out the channel, it's where'sbarryb.com. That's where all my videos are. And Where's Barry TV is where the live streams are. And I'm Where's Barry B on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks to everybody who drops a like. If you're enjoying it, drop a like, subscribe. We've had a lot of new subscribers added to the Crimson Army. So it's been a fun week with this Resident Evil 2 hype. And it's early hype because we don't know when it's coming out. So the first thing that we kind of wanted to talk about was, why wasn't Resident Evil 2 Remake at E3? And if you guys have any ideas on that as well, put those in the chat. So why didn't we see the remake? What we saw from Capcom was Monster Hunter and a lot of Monster Hunter. And I believe the fact that Resident Evil wasn't there is just to keep all the focus on Monster Hunter and to not do a Not a Hero thing with the fans again. As you guys know, Not a Hero was, they teased us and said it was coming out in the fall, and like, oh, well, it's not. So then maybe they don't want to do that again and get our hopes up and get us excited, and everyone's talking, and then we're like, where is it? Because you guys, not you guys specifically, but Resident Evil fans actually tweet at Capcom all the time, like, F you, where's the remake, where's Not a Hero? And I always tweet sarcastic responses whenever Capcom posts anything now about Resident Evil. I always respond with some kind of sarcasm. Gamer Squad says it's probably because they're still working on Resident Evil 7, Not a Hero. Yes, and there's also another DLC as well. But that's not why you wouldn't show something. You could show like just this logo and remind everyone we're actually still working on it. So even though they are going to release 2 Resident Evil things probably before the end of the year and way before Remake probably, they could have at least showed a little icon on the screen, King Tim says they didn't want to show it too early because it won't be out for over a year and a half. That's definitely a very feasible theory. Michael says because it's not ready yet. Again, you can show just the logo, but I know they've been working on it since the first I heard they were working on it was back in July of last year, right after they released the Resident Evil 7 stuff at E3. Like a month after that, people were transferred from Resident Evil 7 development over to Resident Evil 2 Remake development. So they were actually they've been working on it for over a year now, or about a year now, at least. Jolly Roger says the 20th anniversary for Resident Evil 2 is next year. That is correct. And yeah, keep putting your stuff in the chat. I'm trying to get to everything. I'm basically looking at it the size it is there, so the chat goes quick. But thanks to everybody who's joining. 42 zoms right now, 23 thumbs ups. I like thumbs ups. So the next couple conferences, what do we have? So we didn't see it at E3. That's fine. We don't think it's going to come out maybe for another year or more. Resident Evil, remember, the Resident Evil 7 build-up time was about 7 months. So that we might think 7 months after we see finally Resident Evil Remake, they would release it. Something in that half a year cycle, marketing cycle. So we've got Tokyo Game Show. We've got Gamescom comes up first. I think that's in August. Tokyo Game Show in like September, and then PlayStation Experience in December. I think December. So those are the next 3 conferences coming up. And if, Resident Evil's on other systems, but they're really PlayStation heavy. So PlayStation Experience would be a good one if that's in December for like a release in time for Black Friday, in time for Christmas and stuff of the 20th anniversary year, which is next year. Super Gaming said Comic-Con. I don't know that they would do it there. That's more... They do have video game stuff there, but I'm not sure about that. So, the funny thing that happened a couple weeks ago was they interviewed someone who... There's obviously some kind of translation issue, and he used the word soon. And if you guys watch this video, you know that I was very, very... I knew that coming soon meant nothing at all. It was just something a guy said, the word soon. It could be interpreted any way you want it. And bloggers went crazy, YouTube videos, oh, Resident Evil's coming out soon. Soon means tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, I mean, soon could mean anything. It could mean a year, it could mean 2 years. And then, so we did this video and we just heckled the people who thought it was actually coming soon. And we just destroyed them. And then, like, 2 days later, the guy who said soon was like, I didn't mean to say that. And then there was blogs and videos about, oh, it's not coming soon. So I just thought that was funny that we were on top of that the whole time. And most of you guys were, in the comments of this video, were responding the same way, where you knew it's not really coming soon because they would have said, they would have had more details or shown us something besides just a random comment from someone who I don't even know if he's working on the game. I guess he is working on the game. Goldheart says, soon could be anything. Fod says, if they don't have an exact release date, then it's not coming soon. Heisenberg has a point that we're going to talk about in another future video probably, and that's if it will be VR compatible. And maybe we'll touch on that a little bit here when we get to the topic of what the camera view will be. So, the voice actors, this was the worst video I ever did because my editing messed up and then some of the things got in that didn't. The main point on this video should have been that Capcom is no longer working with unionized voice actors. That's fine. And that means that some of the voices that are currently the voices of these Resident Evil characters that you guys know, that I don't know these people. I could care less about who the voice actors are at this point. I haven't studied them. I'd never really realized who they even were growing up. But some of the new people, like Resident Evil 7, Chris Redfield, he was gone, whoever his voice actor was. And you can excuse me for not knowing any of their names. But the big one was this girl in the center there who played Claire in Resident Evil 2, which is what the game is. And she played it like ever since then. And she's out, Allison Court. And now I know her name because the internet went crazy about that. So how do you guys feel about voice actors changing? Personally, I don't really care. I just care about the game. Voice actors never really made an impression on me in this series, aside from Steve Burnside's voice actor in Code Veronica. And I kind of liked Iron's voice actor in the original Resident Evil 2, but I was actually watching Umbrella Chronicles or Darkside Chronicles. One of those games shows like a side story of how Resident Evil 2 was, and it was a different voice actor there, so I don't know if that guy would come back. I don't know if they're going to bring back the originals. It looks like these guys here on the screen with the X's are all the current people. They're not the people who played them in Resident Evil 2. So they could go back to those people, but those people were actually replaced in the timeline, so maybe they're bitter. We don't know about that. Power Ranger says Claire in Revelations 2 was not good. Oh, you guys can actually see me scroll on that screen, so I'm going to go to this other screen. Michael says maybe Capcom wants young voice actors. Yeah, and what they did for Resident Evil 7 was with the character models, which we'll talk about here coming up as well, is they went with the cheap option. They just hired these young models who never did anything. They're not actors. If you guys have been watching, I've been playing Until Dawn, and that is, well, I can show you right now. We play on Until Dawn in the show Play at Primetime. And this show is on every Sunday night and then weeknights at 8 o'clock, 8 to 9, just 1 hour. So we've been playing that, and there's actually real actors in that, like Hayden Panettiere and Mr. Robot. They're all in this game. And in Resident Evil 7, they just got random models. It probably saves them a lot of money. And then the models, all they do is go in for one day, get photographed from all around. And then, whoop, that was the beach. They get photographed from all around, and then they are just, the computers make them do everything else. So it's very easy to scan them into the computer and not, spend a lot of money on that. So if they say they're saving money on the voice actor, the character models, then maybe that gives them more, they're not just trying to be cheap. Maybe save money here on the voice and then make the game better, have some more people working on whatever the other aspect of the game is. And we just talked about voice actors more than I ever want to talk about voice actors ever again in my life. But, okay, Residents of Evil. This is a newish, I think they're newish, YouTube site. I know they're related to somehow. I'm not exactly sure the whole backstory. Anyway, they've been interviewing a lot of voice actors. So if you are the diehard who actually know who these people are, go check out Residents of Evil. Let's actually give them a plug on here. Evil, YouTube. I hope I don't have any weird autocompletes. Alright, well, I don't even know how to find it on here. But it's ROE. Here we go. ROE at ROE Network on Twitter. And here we go. Residents of Evil. Find them out, and you can look at all their interviews with Allison Court, and they're doing some upcoming podcasts with some other voice actors. So if you're into the voice actor bit and diehard fans, check out those guys. They know more than I do. The big part that we're talking about here for Resident Evil 2 Remake is the new game engine. And Resident Evil 7, when they came out with that game at the same time, they developed a new engine. And if you guys don't know what engines are, like Unreal Engine is the one every game I play pops up, Unreal Engine. It's like, it's everything in the game, kind of, the levels, the AI, the way the characters look, everything, all the objects in the game. That's kind of what the engine is. It makes the whole game run. And the Resident Evil developed their own engine. So they've got this engine. They just used it in Resident Evil 7. They didn't scratch the surface with what it could do. They did as much as they could in the time that they had, but they didn't, they wanted to release the game on time. So they didn't get to do everything they wanted. So you've got to imagine they really want to take advantage of this engine that they've already spent money on, that's going to save them some time with some of the assets and scanning in things, make things more efficient, and use it again in the remake. Now, we don't know this for sure. This is just one of the big things that just is like hitting me in the face when I say, well, how's Resident Evil 2 Remake going to look? Is it going to look like Resident Evil Remake 1? And everybody that is like me really wants it just to be, they want Resident Evil Remake 1, and they just want 2 to, you know, put the characters in 2. And I don't think that they're going to do that. What do you guys think if they, you know, between the Resident Evil... So, Resident Evil 7 engine doesn't have to be first person. It's just the way the levels look and stuff. So, are you guys concerned about the new game engine? And, did you guys... Are you really, really wishing that they just do Resident Evil 1 Remake, the same engine, everything the same like that, just make it Resident Evil 2? Oh, look, Residents of Evil showed up. We were just talking about you. Oh, hey, we were just talking about you. This would be so much cooler if there wasn't a 15-second delay, so that after I ask a question, I have to wait 15 seconds before you guys start dropping your answers in. And we'll talk more specifically about how the engine affects the game. But right now, yeah, just let me know about the engine of the game. And if you think... If you guys want to, are really into the behind the scenes as well, you got to go to is it the GEDEC conference? GEDEC conference, Resident Evil 7. That's not the name of it. I can't remember what the name of it is. Check out go to the video, for the new game engine or for the new character models. The link is in there. That is the guy who played Pete in Resident Evil 7. He's like bigwig up at Capcom. He talked about the engine and why they made it and how it makes everything more efficient. So if you really care about the boring technical aspects of the engine, he doesn't really go too deep into it. It's more about Resident Evil 7, but he talks about the engine a little bit in there. And the new engine could mean new camera angles. So we this is one of our poll questions, and it's twitter.com/where'sbarryb. And if you guys hashtag theory chat, if you guys want to get on the show that way, I might read your tweets if anybody ever tweets that. And right now we've got 56% of the people are looking for fixed camera, 25% third person over the shoulder, 19% say first person. And just going through the comments on these videos, I saw people are freaking out. And you know that I do these videos to show you every possible option, no matter how stupid it seems, because that's what the developers were doing years ago when they said, hey, let's remake Resident Evil 2. They didn't say, hey, that's a stupid idea. They put all these ideas together and then they picked the best ones. But the fixed camera is such a huge Resident Evil, it almost defines it to me. Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica, those were so good, amazing when I was growing up. And when they switched it for 4, I was just actually upset. And then I was like, this game stinks. And eventually I realized Resident Evil 4 was awesome too, but it just didn't feel the same. And Resident Evil 7, the same thing with first person. It's fun. It's an awesome game. It just doesn't feel the same. So fixed camera. Please, fixed camera. Residents of Evil says, I want fixed camera, but using this engine scares me. Charlie says, I think it'll be hard to use fixed camera on a new engine. Frickin' A says third person with an optional first person. And that is the other thing we were talking about. I don't know much about games. I know Grand Theft... The only thing I know, Grand Theft Auto, the recent one, was a third-person game, and it was awesome. And then eventually they added a first-person, part, and people flipped out and they loved it. So I don't know how long that took. I don't know how much additional expense that is. I don't know how video games work. Can they just go, oh, now we're also in first person? I feel like they can't do that because the original Code Veronica had, or maybe it's the Code Veronica X, had a first person version that was just makes you want to throw up. That's how bad it was. It was like they're just like, let's just throw this in there, and it was just complete garbage. Michael says fixed camera the best. Mateo, fixed camera. Nifty Boy says optional. Heroes says I love Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. XBR Cat Gaming says third person doesn't mean action. Look at the remake. There's also, what's the guy's name who does the fan remake by himself, I think. I just used him in the videos that are coming out this week. I just used a clip from him and put his link in there. But I can't remember what his name is. Ishbon says, if I found out the remake was in first person, I'd rather play Umbrella Chronicles. Super Gaming wants optional. Goldheart wants switched camera. Now, I think first to third over the shoulder would be an easier switch than fixed camera. But when they did fixed camera, they made artistic backgrounds, and if they're using the new engine, they're not going to make artistic backgrounds. They're going to use the engine backgrounds, and then it could still be fixed camera. But yeah, I just thought about that right now. Now I'm worried about fixed camera. I'm worried they're not going to do fixed camera. And if you guys come to Theory Chat, you know about the top secret source who comes in from Capcom, and he comes to the chat and he tells us things. One of the clues, we don't know if sometimes he's joking or not, but one of the clues he had was I asked him, is it going to be first person or fixed camera? And he said, maybe you didn't give me the right option, and then winked or something. So I was like, at that moment I was like, oh no, is it going to be third person? But now I'm thinking, man, it might really be third person. XBR says he'd like the choice to change angles. What's up, hosts? What's up, Charlie? What's up, friggin' A? All the people that are joining. 63 zoms up in here right now. I hope you're all zoms. I don't know what we're at on the subscriber count, but yeah. The other thing that, again, this Until Dawn that I've been playing, if you guys have played this, it's the free game on PS Now, PS Plus, whatever the thing is called, I'll never remember it. It has fixed cameras, but it's like cinematic fixed cameras. I know someone in the chat mentioned that as well. I just wanted to wait to drop this thing on there. But the cinematic things in the Until Dawn are really cool. I don't know how they would fit the remake, but that would be really cool because the cameras are moving, but the backgrounds are the same. But so it's not like fixed camera, it's like moving fixed camera. I know that's a contradiction, but that is Until Dawn. Residents of Evil says it's modern fixed camera and it's perfect. Yeah, I really thought it was cool when I was playing that. Mustang says in first person you can really take in the environment. So so I know some of you hear first person and you flip out. A lot of people are like Mustang and they would like to see it in first person. They want the immersion. They want that whole feel. I feel like Resident Evil 2 is a cartoon, in my opinion. I mean, seeing the character is like a thing, and the graphics were kind of cartoony, different colors, and it wasn't super realistic originally. So I always liked viewing it like it was a movie. I didn't want to be in the movie. I wanted to watch this movie from afar and take it all in, and that's why I like the fixed cameras of the original game as opposed to first person. However, Resident Evil 7, I loved it, and I love some other first person games like Fallout. I love being in there. It's really addictive to be in first person compared to third person, in my opinion, but I don't know. And Host says maybe VR. That's the other thing in this. If they decide to go VR again, that would be first person, I would assume. I mean, third person, over the shoulder with VR is not super amazing. And so I bought the PSVR. You guys know this, like a year ago. I played it for like a week and a half. It ruined my depth perception for like 2 weeks. I had no depth perception. I couldn't see things coming at me, and it makes me sick every time I put it on. So I don't play it anymore, and I really hope it fades out. I knew it would fade out. I just bought it for the channel, but I hope it fades out even quicker, and they don't waste the time and the effort to put it into VR anymore. But you guys might feel different. Do any of you guys actually like the PSVR or any of the new VR stuff? And what's up, Caliban? What's up, Made in Heaven? What's up, Reformed Order? What's up, Umbrella Archive? Thanks everybody for joining. If you are enjoying the stream, thanks for clicking on the thumbs up. My computer froze on the monitor, so I have no idea how many thumbs ups there are, but that always gets me excited about making more of these videos. You guys know my videos are 2 minutes to 4 minutes long, and I like to get to the point. I like to do a lot of edits in there. I don't want to drone on and on, but that's why we do this show, for the people who want like an hour podcast type format, as well as for the interaction. So that's why we do the Theory Chat show, and we do it after there's some news. And in this case, we do it after a bunch of speculation videos. The other thing we've got with this new engine and the new Resident Evil 7, the way that they did those characters, is we're probably going to have some new character models. And how they do that is they are going to get somebody, they're going to sit in a chair, they're going to take 1,000 photographs of them. That's just an exaggeration. And they're going to scan them into the computer, and they're going to make them look hopefully like the characters in Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 7, you guys know Chris Redfield doesn't look anything like him, and they wanted to reimagine the character, and they wanted to change him up. So in that case, I don't have a huge problem with that, but that's in the future. This is a past game. So if they're going to change the way the characters look in the past game, I find that to be weird. I think they'll change Leon and Claire in the future, like Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil 9. Maybe they'll look different and they'll reimagine them, but how can you do that in a Back to the Future? I mean, Marty McFly's about to show up, and my family's going to disappear unless my dad and my mom kiss at this I don't even remember the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. So which characters did you guys like the best in Resident Evil 7? And if you haven't watched it yet, I did a video where I showed all the real life models next to the characters, and some of them were crazy. Like Lucas Baker, he's got some crazy photos online where he's doing all sorts of weird stuff. And the guy who looked the most like their character was Chris Redfield, and they didn't do a lot of stuff on the computer to change him. But we're really hoping the casting is better, and the top secret source says that they are doing a better job of casting. So I'm hoping that they go with the character like he looked in this picture here on the screen, where he has this worst haircut in the world, and they do that for this game. XBR says he likes how Chris looks in Resident Evil 7. Demon says he likes Mia. I like the Mia American flag photo, so check that out as well. Her name is Savannah Daniels. You can follow her on Instagram. Actually, I think it was on Instagram where I saw that one. Residents of Evil agrees Mia wins 7. Charlie likes Chris. Host likes Mia. Yeah, I liked, who did I like? I didn't like the way Mia looked, actually. I didn't like the way Lucas looked. Definitely not Margaret. I think Jack Baker was the best. I mean, and he went through a big transformation. If you'll see, he's just like a thick, younger dude, and they made him look so old there It was really cool how they did that. And again, these would be good things to actually be showing you right now in the background, but I mean, a type of show like that would just take a whole week to plan. And I don't have a week, so you get some thumbnails in the background. And who are your favorite characters in Resident Evil 2? Let me know that in the chat. Not Leon or Claire, the other characters. My favorite is Kendo. I love Kendo. And I know they elaborated on his story, and he has a brother, and I'm not 100% in on the entire canon and lore of the game, but I'd love to see more of Kendo. And I do like Irons as well, although I kind of got sick of him after a little while. But Residents of Evil says Kendo hands down. Host says Hunk. Charlie says Hunk. Williams says Ada. Mustang says Ada. Demon says Hunk. Oh, that's Michelle. Michelle says Ada. Super Gaming's favorite is the truck driver that says, "Why'd he bite me?" Made in Heaven like Sherry. We have a Sherry. Oh, Heroes has Sherry. Uh-oh, Sherry's getting some love. Demons also says the truck driver. Mateo says Irons. Reform says Tyrant. Nobody mentioned Annette Birkin yet. And yeah, if you haven't played Dark Side Chronicles, you probably don't have to play it. I've never played it because I just look at it and I go, I don't want to play that. But they did redo the cutscenes from Resident Evil 2, sort of, some of them. So go on YouTube and find people who have done, they do the whole cutscene movie, and look at the ones for Dark Side Chronicles and Umbrella Chronicles, because there's like 3D updates of some of this stuff. So when I was working on my video today that's going to come out tomorrow, I saw some of these 3D things of Leon and Ada, and I got to kind of, this is kind of how Remake 2 might look with the cutscenes. So, and Arisan says William Birkin. And now for the video where I was like, people are just going to say, F you, you effing stink. And that's if they added co-op to Resident Evil 2 Remake, which I don't think there's any chance in heck. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you think there's a chance that there will be a co-op factor in Resident Evil 2? I should be at a 0, but I'm like at a 3. I'm a little worried that they might do something there because, like I said before, that game I was talking about, Dark Side Chronicles, Leon and Claire went through that game together. I know it doesn't count, but it gives you an idea of how they might be thinking. Like, what if they went in there together? And I think them going together just totally destroys the storyline of we're two people separated and scared. We're trying to get together, but we're trying to work separately. That whole horror thing, like the whole idea of a horror game, and you guys have seen it 100 times in every movie, is the characters are together and they go, let's split up, and you scream at the screen, no, don't split up. But that's horror movies, so they have to split up. They can't be together, right? Charlie says the world will end if there's co-op. We've got a lot of 5s, 4.5 out of 10 from Goldheart. Host says 6, it would make sense. Michelle says 0. Millie says 6. Tim says -24. 666 says 2. Victor says 2. Mustang says I don't think it'll work. XBRC says I hate co-op. I also hate co-op. I hate Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. I just hate co-op so much because I'm my own man. I'm my own man. Can I just play my game by myself? And Shiva, oh my god, I've been playing Resident Evil 5 here and there. She just drives me crazy. She just stands there, and then all of a sudden she starts shooting the rocket launcher. What is she doing? Sorry, that's another rant there. MMA says -100. Capcom will burn if there's co-op. Now, the way that there's already co-op in it, because it's a linear co-op, so you're Leon and then you're Ada and then you're back to Leon. You're never both at the same time. There's actually, I I don't even know if there's a point where you're walking together, and if there is, it's like 5 seconds and then they separate again. And again, that's horror, separating everyone. But if the parts where maybe Leon meets Ada and they work together for a little time period, or Claire and Sherry work together for a time period, something like that is the only way I see it working. And if they did something like multiplayer, which is why they would typically do co-op, I would think, would be so that people could play online, because younger people really love playing online. Old people like me, I like to sit by myself and everybody get out of here. Actually, when I grew up playing Resident Evil, I would play, my friend would sit there and he'd tell me what to do. And if it was 2-player, we probably would have done it, but we liked that 1-player thing and watching the other person. So I guess I was live streaming 20 years ago, for one. So yeah, I don't really want to talk about co-op for too much, because I don't think it's going to be in there. But some of you guys have had higher ratings. I don't even know how to say it, but that it would be in there. Leon, let's go to the next one, and that would be, if there is no co-op or whatever, we've got Ada and we've got Sherry. They're in the game. You play as them at some points. Will they have their own scenario? Would you guys want to see them have their own scenario? And this would be like, again, this is all just like thinking in your head. Pick Leon or Claire, or Ada or Sherry, and there's 4 scenarios in the beginning. That doesn't seem like that's going to be. Or would it be like, okay, you beat the game, now you can play a mini game with Ada, a mini game with Sherry, a mini game with Hunk, and maybe Hunk's is the Forced Survivor game, maybe Ada's is a little different, and maybe Sherry's is like a puzzle game, but they're all little mini games at the end or something like that where they're unlockable. And a lot of people are saying, well, what if they do DLC? And it just, I would hate it if they did DLC. And I have a feeling they're going to do some kind of like costumes in DLC or something. They did that for Resident Evil 0 where they had costume packs. Fod says, what about a scenario about a net? I think you're reaching if you're going with a net or irons, although I'd like to see their stories as well. But I know, that Ada's in multiple games and Sherry is in Resident Evil 6 as one of the main 4 characters. XBR says, just want Leon and Claire. 98 Demon says, an Ada scenario like Resident Evil 4. My favorite, any kind of DLC in almost any game is the Ada thing in Resident Evil 4. I thought it was awesome because it was the same game, you're just a new character, and it just felt like it was its own game. Now, they could also make you different, you could beat the game and you get a new costume. You could beat the game and you get a new character. And we've got a couple videos coming up this week about some of the other people. Made in Heaven says, I'd like some backstory on Sherry before the outbreak. Yeah, so let's talk about each one. So Sherry, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong here, because Resident Evil, I've played so many freaking video games since starting this channel. All the Resident Evil games are like bashing together in my head. But Sherry had her parents, and they never paid attention to her, and she was all whiny because they didn't talk to her, because they were scientists, Annette and William Birkin, and they were working with Umbrella or whatever, and developing whatever, ignoring her. And then Birkin, Hunk comes in, and they kill Birkin, but he doesn't die, and he stabs himself, and now he's the monster, and Sherry's now running away from her family. Maybe there's more to that. We see her like in the middle of that. What happened immediately? When did she first see her dad like that? What did her mom do when she saw her? That's the kind of backstory. That would be kind of cool. Seek says, no Marvin Brownell campaign. No, I don't see that happening. But that would be cool. There's this really funny part where the cop, when he dies, and he's like, he makes some weird noise, and I tried to use it in a video, but it just sounded like, it sounded exactly like me. Like his is just like how I talk, so that it didn't work out. But then we got Ada. Ada's looking for her boyfriend named John, Maybe we see her, we see her go from her headquarters into the city, and we learn more about, why she's there and who sent her and stuff. And I know you can look up some of this information online, but we haven't seen it in the game necessarily. All the backstories from these two characters. And then Hunk again. So tomorrow's video, there's a video coming out tomorrow and a video coming out on Friday. Those are my next 2 videos, and they are on Hunk and Tofu, Drank, and Elza Walker, who is basically Claire before Claire. So stay tuned on Thursday and Friday for those videos. My videos come out at noon Eastern time. But so those characters are also ones I'm going to talk about. Could there be a scenario or a mini game possible for those 3 characters too? And just thinking about it now, it's like, wow, there could be so many mini games. It's awesome. And we're going to get the game. It's going to be the same thing. One thing that we don't have a slide on here for that we missed is, how do you guys think the scenarios will turn out? This is me on the beach. This is when I got a green screen. I was like, all I want to do is get a green screen and be on the beach. So whenever I'm on the computer doing something, I'm going to be on the beach. But I am going on my computer because we missed one of the videos, and that was which scenario. How do you think the scenarios are going to work? Do you think it's going to be A, B, Leon A, Claire B, Claire A, Leon B? Do you think it's just going to be one person A, one person B? Do you think it's going to be like Resident Evil 1, where you play as the one character, then you play as the other character? How do you guys see the scenarios coming out? One of the things I want, as someone who has trouble understanding the story, is to know how the story actually took place in the order it did. I don't see them making one giant story, but that is something I would be sort of interested in. Oh, you can kind of see that over there. Whoops. Host says, I think they'll keep both scenarios. And when you say both scenarios, you mean all 4 scenarios, correct? Is that what you mean? XBR says, I want Resident Evil 6 type. FOD says it'll be similar to the original. Goldheart says character switching. Seek says 2 discs and a DualShock. Super Mario says Elza. Hey, look. I did it. And again, thanks to everybody who's liking the stream. 64 people up in this mug, 53 likes. That's pretty awesome. Thanks for all the support when I do this stuff. And again, Theory Chat is about an hour-long show. In the last 10 minutes, we do like a question and answer thing. So once we're done with this scenario, we can do random questions and stuff like that. MMA says, if Capcom F's up RE2, I'll never forgive them and never buy a game again. That's something I've gotten from a lot of people, and I don't buy it whatsoever. So when Resident Evil 8 comes out, you're not going to buy it because Resident Evil 2 Remake wasn't as good as you thought. Other people are like, if Allison Court isn't the voice actor, I'm going to, never play a Resident Evil game again. Are you serious? Then you're not a real fan of Resident Evil. You're a fan of a voice actor that's probably related to you or something like that, because you're just going to throw away the whole series. Another guy commented and he said he's going to switch because he thinks you can only pick one. So you have to pick one survival horror series. So he's going to switch from Resident Evil to Evil Within. Apparently he's not playing Evil Within now because he's too busy playing all Resident Evil 24/7. But he's going to switch over. So the comment section is very fun and very funny. But I don't know. I'm going to play just about any game where they actually spend time on and make it similar to the original games. So anything in like the number line, you know, the side games, I don't really play those, but Fod says what Fod says what if Leon and Claire or Leon and Claire were paid DLC. There's this funny video on the internet where the guy presses start and it's like, sorry, the start button is paid DLC. You have to pay $5, and then he pays $5, and then he's like, oh, switch the option. They're like, options are $10. But that's kind of funny. And what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Hunk and the Tofu scenario? The Force Survive. Do you guys like that mini? So I don't really play raid mode. I don't play mercenary mode. I don't really like the Hunk and Tofu mini games. They're hard. I like the games that's a little easier and where you can explore more. But do you guys like that kind of stuff? I know just in general through the chat, a lot of people like that kind of stuff. So let me know in the comments here. Seek's got another comment here about one of the upcoming videos. I've got a whole list. Like you can talk about anything, like what's going to change. But in Resident Evil 1 Remake, they added Lisa Trevor. That whole story thing was added to that, and it was awesome. And I definitely think that they're going to add some stuff to this game as well. And that's kind of what we talked about in this video here, because if they do a new story, and they might add some new characters to the mix as well, and that would be awesome. And you know what? Everybody's like, Lisa Trevor's dead, Wesker's dead. You know what? It's a video game. It's basically a soap opera. Anybody can come back from the dead. Rick says to come to Japan and they'll put me in a DLC. That would be an expensive trip. How do you unlock Force Survivor mode? It's complicated. So I'm doing a video on Hunk tomorrow, and I'm like, I'll just go in and I'll get the scenes for my video by playing it. And it's like, you have to unlock it. You have to unlock Hunk in Resident Evil 4 as well. You can unlock him as a mercenary mode character that you can play as, but you have to unlock it. SSUK said, I'd rather eat marguerite soup than tofu. Another thing I learned while doing these videos was that tofu, and it makes perfect sense, is the block, because he's testing the collision, of the game engine or whatever, and that makes perfect sense. All right, so that is Resident Evil 2 Remake and all the videos. Let's talk about whatever now. Any questions or any other thoughts on the stuff that we had? Let's take a look at the Twitter poll. Ooh, did people actually... All right, so every time we do a Theory Chat show, we're going to do 3 poll questions, and you can chime in here, and you can use the hashtag Theory Chat, and I will read your tweets on the air here, but nobody ever Theory Chats. Hunk just ran away with it. Who would you like to see have their own scenario? But Elza Walker's up there too, and we're doing a video on her. But if you didn't know about her, she was the original concept of Claire, and she kind of transformed into Claire, and that's why you've never heard of her. But hey, I wrote the video on it, and it actually came out to like 2 or 3 minutes, so it's actually gonna work. Question number 2: what do you think? Which view do you want? And again, everybody wants fixed camera. A bunch of people want the Until Dawn cinematic modern fixed camera. I'm up for those things. And then we got over the shoulder and first person, 25 and 19. And then, if the characters have the same story, whose disc will you play? And there's so many questions you can ask. Is it because like a male person would pick the male character and a female person might pick the female character? How do they decide? Do they just really like Leon over Claire? Because the 69 to 30 ratio, 70 to 30 ratio is about the male to female ratio of watching the videos, which I think is a high female ratio. I guess I'm I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say. Hero says, I love Claire and Jill. MW Lewis says they should make a hybrid camera. Seek says, like I think I said that in my video, I hope it's a 2D side-scroller like Castlevania. XBR definitely wants the for Survivor to come back and not do the new story mode. I think they could do both. Rick is here. We might have secretly talked about Rick earlier today. He says not a hero, and the third DLC will come out later this year. Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. 98 Demon says I own 1.5. That's another thing I didn't really know a lot about Resident Evil 1.5, but I watched some of the videos on that, and I know there's people are actually making remake kind of stuff on there of that. They're making it so you can actually play it, which is interesting. But oh my god, I saw a video and it said, is Resident Evil 1.5 better than Resident Evil 2? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? But there's so much you can talk about. Are there any other videos you'd like to see about Resident Evil 2 changes? This whole series that we're talking about here is called Changes Are Coming, and it talks about 5 changes that are definitely, or not definitely, but probably going to happen. And then I went to, okay, what else might happen? We don't even have like any good evidence to happen. We're just going to go over everything. But Rick says, what if there's something from 1.5 in the Resident Evil 2 remake? I think there's going to be at least Easter eggs from Resident Evil 1.5 in there. And again, I'm going to talk about it in the video, but I was saying, what if Elza Walker was a zombie in the game? Or what if you find files with information so that, oh god, the name of Leon before he was Leon was like Bit Grossman or something ridiculous and hilarious. I wish they would put that in the game. Have a tombstone of Bit Grossman. True Blue says Crimson Heads in the remake. That would be... I really hate burning bodies. I just hate it so much because the first time I played Remake, I would go into the save room and I'd get all the stuff and I'd burn the body and I'd be like, all right, clear. And then the next room there's more and then you don't have enough lighter fluid and you get, or whatever, gas, and you have to go all the way back to get it. I hate burning those things. I think they should be in the game, but you shouldn't have to burn zombies. And again, that's like a Shinji Mikima type thing, because he added that in his Evil Within game as well as the remake. So, do I think they might throw in a Resident Evil 3 reference? That would be cool as well to mention Jill at some point in there. And what if they combine some of the Resident Evil 3 storyline into it? That would be really awesome. I don't think they're going to do it, but that would be so cool to kind of combine those games into one massive game. But they wouldn't do that, I don't think. 98 Demon got a copy of Resident Evil 1.5. What did I say? Makomo? Makami? Resident Evil set in a suburban setting. I don't know about that. Nemesis Easter egg. So Mr. X would be interesting. And how... I don't know anything about that character, but I know he looks like Nemesis and he acts like Nemesis. And if you look like a Nemesis and you act like a Nemesis, you're probably a Nemesis. So what if we learned something about Nemesis in RE2? That would be cool. And I can answer Rick's question. Everybody wants a Resident Evil 3 remake as well. Resident Evil 4, I guess it would be alright, but I still feel like those graphics are good enough for now. But Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, those graphics don't work on my big TV. But Resident Evil 4, it pixelates a little, but it's okay for now, as is Code Veronica. But yes, I'd like everything remade 100 times with all new technology. If Remake 2 is successful, might we get more remasters? That would be definitely cool, but they do take a while after planning. You know, that video came out in what, 2014 or 15 when they just announced it. So it takes a while for them to come and do it. So it would be a long process, and we might all have gray hair. I already have gray hair. Seek says he doesn't want a Remake 3. He wants DLC with that kind of, some of the stuff from that. That would be cool. How about an enemy that looks like a hurt survivor but then quickly turns into a zombie? Like a chameleon? Chameleon zombie? That would be cool. Rick says Resident Evil 7 will be remade in 20 years. Yes. But will it be in first person?
It's not Resident Evil 7 if it's in fixed camera or something like that.
I don't know. Going to the beach. Going to the beach, 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 beach. So once again, the hashtag theory chat was super successful. We had exactly 0 people. 0 people tweet it with that. But I know a lot of you guys aren't on Twitter. But Twitter is like where I'm at all the time. So if you ever want to, chat, that's the best place to do it. And also when I do the live streams of Resident Evil games, those are like what I'm doing now, except I'll be playing the game and I'll be focusing on the chat and your questions and your comments and reading your stuff out loud. When I do the Play It Primetime show, which right now we are on until dawn, that is where I focus more on the game and stuff like that. So if you guys are around this week, check it out. On Friday night is the next episode, and then Sunday until dawn. So many jump scares. I've never played it before, so I don't know when anything's coming, and it's scaring me to death. So it's really fun, and the chat is always awesome. Thanks all you guys for checking out the show today. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Thanks to the 60 people who liked it. At one point we had 70 something people in the chat, which is really cool. And whenever you have these episodes, I will put the replays out later that night or the next day. So you can always watch the replay of them. And I tried to make it like a podcast. So we'll see how that works, where you can download them and just listen to them at work. And today's episode, I think I did the best job of talking the entire time and not waiting a lot. But we had so much meat to cover, and we did it. So thanks L1, thanks Fod, thanks Mustang, Distant Memories, Charlie, L1, Heroes, Host, Goldheart, Super Gaming, Super Mario, Demon, Millie, SSUK, Seek and Destroy, Residents of Evil. Go check out their podcast, Seek and Destroy. Go check out his twitch.tv/Seek and Destroy. Just Google it. Rick, Distant Memories. Did I already say that? Devin, MMA, and everybody else who joined in. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Where's Barry B? You can watch all my videos and all the videos that we talked about today. The links are in the description, or where'sbarryb.com. If you ever want to watch a live stream or see if I'm streaming, where'sbarrytv.com. And I'll let you guys know when the next episode of Theory Chat is. The Play It Primetime Until Dawn. That is fun. We do that show and we give away one of these t-shirts here. Every time we do a season of Play It Primetime, we're on season 5, we give away one of these shirts. Designed by Caliban, who was actually in the chat earlier. I think he's gone because he lives in Italy and it is late night. But if you can also get that shirt in the description if you like it. It's really cool because it doesn't say like where's Barry. It does on the back, but it's a zombie, and it's a cool zombie. So people won't be like, where's Barry? They'll just be like, oh, cool zombie shirt, bruh. 69 likes. Oh, hey, let's get to 70 and make this more family friendly. So that will be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much. I will talk to you later. Catch you later, evil dudes. Tweet at me. See you later. And bye, Amanda.